All right, and we are live. Welcome, my friends. Welcome, welcome. I am Omar Krieg. This is the Krieg Dominion, and I am your commander and host of the Krieg Dominion, and your host for tonight's episode of Second Star, our 8th episode of Second Star Traveler 2300 AD role playing experience. My phone is going crazy because there are discussions about graduations going on, stuff like that. What? Okay, never mind. I'll look at that in a minute. With me, as always, I have the crew, or portions of the crew, of the Far London ship Wayfinder, featuring Charles playing as Senior Armsman Fritz Hellwig, Joseph Milligan, a newcomer to our group, the intern, if you will, playing as Senior Pilot. Oh, yeah, Joseph Milligan. Yeah, actually, I forgot you've changed your Discord name to the exact same name as your character. And Wiggles playing as Commander George Wyatt, the ship's XO, and of course, our easily excitable Zamerson playing Senior Trooper Steve McAvoy, one of the ship's
Howdy.
troopers. While they get a moment to introduce themselves, talk a little bit about their lives and or their characters, I'm going to be fiddling with my phone because I still need to finish getting one or two things set up and kind of answer answer a question for my ex regarding my kid's graduation. So please, take it away, Charles. And also, hello, Dragon Man.
Nothing new for me really. It's just been work. Letting in the fun summer that's been starting to spring around here. And the only thing I had exciting going on is next weekend I got a big gaming convention I'm going to with miniature war game stuff.
That's
down
the
the
one.
way.
That's the one that we've referenced a couple of times recently, isn't it?
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Because I know you sent me the link, and I meant to look at it, and I'll be honest with you, I haven't had a chance to look at it since.
It's all right. You failed me for the last time.
Wow, I deserve that, but wow.
No, it's going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Close up Sunday about 4 o'clock down in Hotel Complex in Olympia, Washington. And it'll be fun. Hopefully busy. The game lists just are being published, so everyone's scrambling online to go sign their names up for stuff. So, like any other gaming convention, it's going to be a whole bunch of people playing games, throwing dice, and going pew pew, and your guy's
Nice.
dead, and then arguing about what the word "dub" means in the rules.
Right. And that's not this weekend; it's next weekend, correct?
Next weekend, yeah, Memorial Day weekend, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm definitely not going to be in town for it, which is, honestly, that's the story of my life. Even if I could have gone,
Right.
I wouldn't have been able to because like not enough money, or some other thing going on, or it'd been like my kid's weekend or the weekend to have my youngest son, something silly like that,
Right.
But at the same time, like that's awesome that you'll have a chance to go and hope you have a good time with it and have a lot of fun and kill a lot of bad guys.
Yep.
And next we have, I'm gonna skip over the intern because the intern always goes last. He'll have to deal with it. Next we have Wiggles, who plays Commander. Excuse me, Commander Wyatt. Oh my God, what the hell did I feel like I just swallowed a hair or something. Why, Wiggles, please take it away while I die over here.
Hi, I'm Wiggles. I play the old spacer, old merchant, George Wyatt. His wife is also on the ship, Alicia Wyatt, and she's the chief engineer on board. And last session, I was told that there is someone sending off secret encoded messages from the ship.
Yeah,
Oogity spooky.
Weird. I wonder who that might be.
It's Samerson.
I was gonna make a joke. I was gonna say something.
It was really all along.
I was gonna say something like it can't possibly be one of the ship's troops, just to be facetious. Because of course you gotta throw a red herring out there every now and again. Speaking of red herrings and ship's troops, Zamerson, what's new and exciting, and or something about your character other than the fact that he is a glorified murder hobo?
Excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He is not a murder hobo, okay? He's a murderer.
He's a murderer.
Convicted murderer. He's a convicted murderer.
Now, he hasn't been. No, wait. He actually. No, you did take some time in prison, didn't you?
Yes, sent. That's exactly the answer I'm going with here.
Okay. What else, man? You got anything else?
Well, just to clear up the air here, in case there was a little confusion, because I don't know, what I don't know what anybody might know about me, but I just want to make this perfectly clear here. Zamerson is not my real name, okay? That's all I'm gonna say.
Of course, we kind of just like Omar Krieg isn't my real name either.
And you will never know my real name ever. No matter, I will never tell you guys.
It's Butts with 7 S's.
I was just gonna say it's Puddin. it's Puddin.
Okay, so
I'm sorry. I've definitely got a snarky side coming out right now.
nah, it's all good. My cat recently pissed on my bed. And
that's always
I think
fun.
that's some pretty fun news. I really had I had a fun time cleaning that up. That was really fun and entertaining. Ammonia smells really, really, really nice. You'll have to just kind of sleep in it.
Suddenly the ideas of getting a cat to both help a friend of mine out and to give my son something more to be excited about. Suddenly I'm starting to rethink my life choices.
Nah, cats are good. It's just like my cat is. She's a very expressive cat, but not vocally. She's a very physically expressive cat. She expresses herself incredibly physically all the time.
Cats are, the funny thing about, a lot of people, especially people that don't own pets, they don't realize that cats and dogs both, and probably quite a few other animals, definitely have their own personalities, just like people do.
Oh no, for sure. What I mean by what I was saying earlier is that she only does stuff like that when she's trying to get my attention, right? And here's the thing: this is how I know that she's got to be smarter than cats. Got to be smarter than we let on, or what we think, because she's done this to people before, right? And she only does this stuff for like specific reasons that I'm not going to get into, but usually just usually litter box related incidents or situations,
Right.
But like that's her way of telling me, Bozo, help me with this or fix this. But sometimes if she what she'll do is she never pees in like a corner or like on the floor or something. She'll specifically go after things that she knows we tend to sit or lay on, right?
No, it makes perfect sense.
She'll go for your bed, she'll go for your chair, and one time, this was a long time ago. This was back when she was living with someone else. I was still taking care of her, but we were just in a different house. She specifically sought after their clean laundry basket, so it would like seep from the top to the bottom.
Cats,
yeah, she's kind of evil as hell.
Well, cats are generally assholes. I was gonna say, but they can be very loving. But the thing about cats and dogs is they know how to manipulate us. We just think that they're, cute and cuddly or whatever, but they're actually.
Nah, man, I could totally people, this is just something else. Also, like, I feel like people just don't want to harm animals, but even though they easily could, people are scared of geese for some unknown reason.
Yes,
like
geese
we could
are
easily
assholes.
just grab their necks and twist them really easily. Like we could easily just like grab a goose by the neck and just swing him around. Like he's really not a threat. It'd be really easy to deal with a goose, but people just don't. But they run away from them.
Yeah, because they don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, they
anyway,
don't want to
we're drifting a little bit here, so go ahead and finish your thought, please.
I am not a murder hobo, and that's all. I'm gonna leave off on that. Okay, I am not a hobo.
Yeah.
I live in the ship.
Okay.
He has no permanent home. He goes from place to place, and people die when he goes there.
That actually does check out quite a bit more than you might think. So yeah. All right.
Nah, man, I live on the ship.
Okay. All right. We gotta bring in the intern here, and he'll be an intern for a little while longer, and he'll finally earn his full membership badge.
Man.
Joseph Milligan, once upon a time known as Thurgor, but he's changed his Discord name to confuse me. I know that's exactly why he did it. Please tell us a little bit about your character, or a little bit about something going on in your life that you feel like sharing, and let's see what kind of crazy conversation we can have in about a minute or so.
Well, I could elaborate on cats and all that, but I'm not going to at this point. I got introduced last time. I'm going to do a little more in-depth intro tonight with the captain again.
Yeah.
The week here has been beautiful. I'm up in Alaska. We're in the 60s this week. It's great. They think this is a heat wave up here. People have actually said that this week, I think you have no idea. It's already 90 degrees down in Arkansas. Where I came from. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Now,
But anyway,
we've had some abnormally high temperatures in the last week as well. We might be part of that same weather system or whatever. And I'm waiting for someone to say, "And here's the heat wave." I'm like, yeah, it's the end of May and it's already shit out there for how hot it is. That definitely constitutes a heat wave. Also, I just want to remind you that, we could use some more commonly placed and or installed used air conditioners everywhere instead of this, there's always a nice breeze. Yeah, okay. Anyway, anything else?
So tonight I'm going to have one final action as the CMO before I move on to Joseph.
That's right. I do recall.
And then it'll be Joseph 100%.
Yes, I do recall. In fact, I need to go look at your. Did you DM me that, or was that in the?
I think it was in private messages. Yeah, I just wanted you to know what I was going to say so you could possibly have a response already planned out.
Yeah, I do remember you saying that. I just don't remember where.
It's not too terribly.
I mean, I'm sure
detailed.
I can think of an answer or response or whatever.
Yeah.
On the spot. I'm not terrible at coming up with shit on the fly. Oh, it is right here. It was in the open. You want to talk to the captain and tell him that his idea of black coffee is not really a good drinking substance.
Oh, that might get me in too much trouble. I don't know.
I see what I mean. I can make shit up on the fly. It doesn't have to make sense, but I can make shit up on the... Anyway, all right. Before I get break an arm trying to pat my own back here. Previously on Second Star, I didn't actually prep a full-on thing to read, but here is a brief summary of the last couple of episodes. Our characters left the planet Inferno en route to the outermost gas giant of the star system, Nyotikundu, also known as Wolf 359. The gas giant Cosido has an orbital mining station in orbit around it that would go and grab chunks of ice out of the ice rings of the gas giant and then basically ballistically shoot them down into the inner system. However, for some reason, communication was spotty and then it just completely dropped off. Things were happening. The crew was sent out to investigate. They fly out to investigate, and as soon as they get on the station, they end up in a shootout with these robots armed with basically cattle prods. So there's a bunch of bullets going around, and every now and again somebody gets zapped. Mostly the XO, I should point out. But negligible damage for the most part. Upon further investigation, the crew learns that the chief engineer has apparently gone even further down the rabbit hole of I don't want to interact with people ever again. Uses the robots to keep the people of the station contained in one area as he decides to embark on this ever-grand quest of building something and then attaching that something to the station. It looks like he was trying to build some sort of engine apparatus to get the station to break orbit from around Cosido and wander off somewhere into the galaxy. Fortunately for everybody involved, the heroes were able to stop the engineer from being able to get away with his plans, and on further investigation, it turns out it may have actually been caused by some alien plant that had never been seen before ever in human history. The plant unfortunately died in an electrical fire-ish accident. But with the dead plant, nobody is having headaches, and the chief engineer is generically non-responsive. But also, he got scooped up by a security team, we'll say, that came in on another ship to help bring the station back up to normal operations. And so, since then, our crew has returned to the Wayfinder. In our last couple of scenes from last week, the captain decided to sit down with McAvoy and have a little bit of a conversation with him that arguably did not go well for either side. And then I believe our final scene of the night was the XO being approached by the sensors operator, or excuse me, the communications tech, who said things like, "Hey, sir, somebody is sending and receiving messages from on the ship to parts unknown, content of said messages unknown, sender receiver on this ship unknown." And the XO said something like, "Okay, don't tell anybody, we're going to put a bug in here," or something like that. And that pretty much takes us up to where we are now. The captain briefly was introduced to Joseph Milligan. Milligan has had effectively about enough time to stow his gear, and then the captain is basically called for, I don't know if general quarters is the right word, because it's not like you're getting ready to go to action or anything. It's just prepare for breaking orbit to get along to the next station, or excuse me, next system. Our current destination is now Bessières. It's a French word, so I'm probably going to mispronounce it. I don't know what it means. I did Google how to pronounce it, and I'm kind of close. Those with better French-speaking experiences will tell me and you how screwed up I am every time I say it. However, immaterial. It is roughly it's about 5:15 p.m. on the 26th of April right now. Let me go ahead and update this. On the stream, the overlay that shows the date, I'm going to change it slightly. The 26th, so it's Saturday. We're going to change that to Monday. 26th of April, 2297. Boom, done. Captain is preparing, or wants the ship to prep to exit. Sorry, I just drank water. I'm trying not to burp. I know you guys tell me all the time, just burp, just do it. I don't want to do it, so I'm trying not to do it.
Just burp, dude.
See, I told you somebody was going to say something. All right. We got some rolls to make. The first roll.
Rolls.
What?
Oh, it is my
CMO
duty shift, isn't it?
CMO confides in the captain that he is a scaly and has a lizard persona. Wow.
What? No no way.
Okay, actually, you know what? Before we get into the ship breaking orbit and heading off into the deep, let's do the CMO and the captain.
Alrighty.
That sounded bad. Let's do that scene.
That still sounds bad.
That's okay. Yes, but sounds nominally better until you have somebody burping into their mic. Anyway, so yeah, the captain is pretty much he'll be in his office. Okay. I'm assuming you're gonna approach and do the whole knock knock thing.
Yep, CMO, is out to speak his mind. So he's marching straight to the captain's office and knocking on that door.
Okay, so for clarity, this is probably like a handful of hours after the fact. Like at the very least, handful of hours after the last person has returned to the ship for the final time. The ship is in the final stages of getting everything locked down and ready to depart, and the captain is in his office. And I feel like he's probably doing some sort of like paperwork or something. Probably got like a notebook open or a file folder open, and he's checking off a few things. And as he sees the CMO approach, he makes one final little annotation or what have you, closes it up, sets it off to the side, and says, "Doc, come on in. You seem upset, so I'm sure you've got something good for me."
Just have a lot on my mind, Captain. I wanted to express my concerns about how things went down on the station. While troopers and higher-ups both were bemoaning the dangers there, none of our people suffered any fatalities or even an injury in relation to the alien situation. At worst, our people were rendered unconscious. I was needed for nothing more than administering analgesics and caffeine. The plant was obviously not a weapon. If by some stretch of the imagination it wasn't a particularly good one. What it truly was, we'll now never know. Be it prejudice, ignorance, fear, or just pig-headedness, We lost something extraordinary that day. These events have likely cost the entire human race knowledge beyond our current understanding and even perhaps a chance to quicken our own evolution. We had the plant neutralized, maybe even killed, but still it was a valuable specimen, too valuable for this crew to be the one to decide its fate. From the moment it was neutralized, no further psychic events occurred. Destroying it was fully disgraceful, and I do not believe at all that its destruction was an accident. And that is what's going to go into my official report. I'll also be sending a report to AMEC regarding the actions of the station's chief engineer and what we were able to determine was happening. I realize that by his hands, some atrocities did occur, but from my interactions with others who were also affected, I do not think he was in control of his thoughts or his action due to the influence he was under. And with that, he just kind of crosses his arms and stands there.
Well, that was quite a few thoughts you had prepared there, Doctor. Please have a seat.
He sits down.
Listen, I'll be honest with you. This situation was, at the very least, stressful, scary, prone to all sorts of potential outcomes that could only be speculated at any point in time. Having said that, that's not meant to be an excuse or a blanket pardon, perhaps. But you're, of course, free to indicate whatever you want to indicate in your report. My understanding is the destruction of the plant, however unfortunate or fortunate as it may have been, was indeed an accident. I obviously was not on the station at the time. I was here on the bridge monitoring the entire situation, which, again, not a great answer in the grand scheme of things, but that is my answer and my response. The fact that you were only required to issue pain medication and perhaps moral support is a testament to how this situation was handled versus how well or how poorly it could have gone. Also, I can roll deception, but I may have just let a bit of the cat out of the bag. Sorry, you guys can't see it on the screen, but Wiggles is talking shit in the Tabletop Simulator chat box. Where was I? I'll say this: you're absolutely right. That had that plant not been destroyed, it is something that we could have used to propel humanity forward in some way. Some sort of greater understanding of the cosmos, some sort of potential interaction with what could have been an intelligent alien species. Who knows what could have been? It could have been great in a pie, for all we know. And I said that a little bit more sarcastic than probably what the captain actually meant, but it did represent a danger, and that threat was neutralized. And according to the official report, the accident of the oxygen saturation and the electrical spark that caused it to be destroyed, that's the only answer I can go with. If you feel the need to investigate further, I can't stop you short of giving you a direct order, and I don't feel the need to do that. I feel like that would be counterintuitive at this point.
Well, he says his ability to investigate it further is now no longer within his grasp, being that y'all have left the station.
Uh-huh. You've been deceived, my friend. Yes. Obviously, investigating it further is probably a moot point. We don't know what it could have been. We don't know what could have been, what would have been, what should have been. The point is the plant's gone. There are other specimens, I believe, still on the station. However, I don't know if you noticed, but I got an image of some of the people on that freighter that came in to relieve us. And it looks like, as well as they could hide it, they didn't do a very good job, and I would put money on that at least 2 of those people on that ship's crew did not work for AMAC, but rather worked for somebody else. You know, Christian in aspiration or non-governmental governmental agencies. I was also trying to spell an acronym, by the way, with the Christian in aspiration. Point is, yes, I can't argue with anything that you just said, and there may not be anything we can really do moving forward from this point. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. The doctor gets to his feet. Yeah.
I don't know who's talking over here, so please, by all means, go for it.
After the CMO gets to his feet, and if the captain has something else to say, he'll stop and listen.
I think, Doctor, perhaps moving forward, if we had more information and or insight, a different decision could have been made. And if a similar situation ever arises, I definitely would appreciate advice from my senior staff whenever that advice might be available.
And so he nods to that and
throws it right back at the Mad Doctor.
And he excuses himself from the room.
Excellent. And then we hear all hands prepare for departure. And we return to the bridge, or rather the camera returns to the bridge. And first things we need to do, I'm just gonna roll some dice really quick. Marshall Tran's got to analyze the local situation. He's good. Marshall Tran, for those that don't recall or don't have the roster open, Marshall Tran is the navigator, i.e. the next guy up from senior pilot Milligan. And what he just did was basically analyze the latest navigation data, and he's good. At the same time, senior sensors operator Yvonne Bishop needs to roll electronics sensors. This really isn't terribly important, but we'll play by the book. 2d6 against a 10 with a total of +2 DM. Oh dear. Well, according to my notes, it has no real outcome on the result, so whatever. Tran is also going to roll astrogation intelligence 8. Has no real effect. We'll call that an 8. And lastly, we'll have next.
I'm back.
Okay, Mr. XO, if you could roll 2d6 for your engineer wife.
Hey,
right.
I'm going to send you a private DM, FYI, while this is happening. Respond privately if you could, please, as well.
Sure.
This is very private information about the character.
Okay. If this has something to do with wanting to find a place to smoke a cigar, I might be upset.
No. No. It's probably worse than that, trust me.
Oh, that's not reassuring at all. Wow.
Oh, no.
There's no way. Oh, my
no.
God. Hold on. Let me see what
Jesus Christ.
Even with a +3, that is... Wow, you know what the funny part is? So that would take you You needed a 6+ with a DM of +3. You missed it by 1. I don't have
not
any...
too bad.
I don't have any specific notes as to what that does to the income, but basically... Or not income, but the outcome. So go ahead and roll 1 die and add 1 to it, because that's how much you failed it by. And that'll be how long it takes to get the stutter warp drive and engines all primed correctly. Alright, well, that'll take 2 hours instead of something. Finally, we need the pilot to roll intelligence 6+. To get the ship on the correct course.
So can he jack into the ship? Does it have those kind of like matrix chairs for him?
You know what? I feel like there might be an RCA cable hanging off to the side that he could plug into.
RCA.
Alright, don't get the red and white confused, so
Yeah, you might hear out of your left ear what you should be hearing in the right ear. I'm sorry, guys. That was just a really bad joke, but I couldn't help that one. Go ahead. Make your intelligence 6+. With whatever modifiers you need based on the fact that you have a piloting skill of something or other and you're now physically attached, not quite at the hip, but in the brain dome to the ship.
Yeah, so I got a total of +4, it looks like.
Okay. Basically, roll snake eyes or better.
Just would you stop? You almost made me do it.
That's enough for a success. You got one additional hour, or excuse me, one additional, what is it? Effect time. So yeah, roll 1d6 times 1, because that's your effect. Oh, there you get. Wait for that little red button to pop up.
Yeah, there we go. Boom.
All right. So that's 4 hours off of the 54 hours it will take to get to Bessiere. And that gives us 50. Oh my god, numbers, memory. You rolled a what? You rolled a 4, so let me put this in here. That's going to be 50 hours duration. That is 2 days, starting at 6 p.m. Plus 2, so that'd be 8 p.m. on the 28th. I'm going to update the date on the overlay again. However, it doesn't mean that we're actually at that date just yet. Wednesday, the 28th of April, 2297. Now, we are currently in transit at FTL speeds. Excuse me. While en route, I need the crew to tell me what you guys are focusing on and whatnot. What are you guys doing? Obviously, the pilot will every now and again be checking in to make sure the ship's still on course, and engineers are going to be doing engineering things, and probably the ship's troopers will be doing something between vehicle maintenance on the 2 ATVs and weapons maintenance and some sort of training stuff. Someday we'll have S video. But otherwise, other than your normal day-to-day duties for the next 2 plus days, what's everybody up to? Starting with Charles.
So yeah, I'm working with the maintenance on the vehicle bay and make sure everything's tight. But then, otherwise, I got training on sensors going on, so I'm adding my whatever. We're only going for 2 days, right?
Yeah, it'll be 2 days and 2 hours at FTL, and then once you drop down below FTL, it'll be 3 additional hours before you reach port.
Okay, yeah, so I'm doing that and starting to do the next study group for the next week. I've already done 2 weeks, so out of 8, so I think that'll start the next week, 3rd week of studying for sensors. So computer-based training and sitting down and under observation with the Swan sensor operators.
Okay, sounds good. Let's see who's after that. Milligan. What is Milligan doing besides his normal day-to-day duties?
I mean, his shift is over at 6, which I imagine by the time we're underway, his shift's probably already over.
Yeah.
He did want to go and speak to the captain.
Yes, he did. Let me get through everybody real quick to see what they want to do.
No problem.
And then, because I know I actually have this in here. Is like, I thought I had it in here somewhere that I knew you wanted to do it, but I wanted to bounce it off of what everybody else had going on. Everybody wants to speak to the captain. He's so popular, Wiggles says in the stream chat. Speaking of Wiggles, you're next. What's the XO doing that, he's, when he's not otherwise engaged in XO duties?
Which is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
His current homework was doing a full inventory of the ship's stores with the steward.
Uh-huh.
If he's not doing that, then he'll be doing his new homework, and he's just going to be examining the secret message that were sent, what time they were sent, and try to see if he can figure out, try to wring every bit of information out he can get, like how powerful the signal was, because that'll determine distance and
yeah. Okay. And then lastly, Zamerson. What are you looking at getting into other than berating and beefing up and trying to make your guys better and whatever else that McAvoy would be doing?
Speaking of which, how can I train their gun combat? FYI, there's got to be someone. Yep. Theirs specifically.
There's the virtual, basically a VR rig of some sort.
Well, they're going to be there often, I guess. if they're not doing physical training.
Uh-huh.
But for now, I'm actually gonna, you know, are they all in the same room right now? Preferably.
You can put them all in a room. There's a couple of... There's the briefing room, there's the mess hall, there's one or two other more or less public areas of the ship that you could take them to that isn't somebody's personal quarters, which, as you can imagine, are pretty cramped.
You know what? Never mind. I'm just gonna keep training them. Honestly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Alright.
that's about it. Really, I'm not really gonna be doing anything. Nobody talked to Steve. FYI, don't talk to Steve. He ain't in the mood to be talking to right now. You talk to Steve, I swear to God.
Easy now. Easy. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to start with Hellwig.
Yeah.
Sorry, my brain is trying to recall without having to open it because I never remember to open it until I can't remember somebody's name. So, one moment while I open up the ship's crew roster. I want to say the comms guy's name is Paul Gray.
Paul Gray is senior comms tech.
Yes, he is. Look at that. My brain did work mostly. Paul Gray comes to you later the evening that you guys first departed. So this is that Monday evening.
Okay.
Probably 2-3 hours into the FTL transit. He says he finds you. I imagine you're in your quarters or something like that at this point.
Yeah, probably. I mean, getting ready to go crash or get ready to do the studying off one of the ship's computers on the desk in the crew quarters or something like that. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So he comes up to your quarters. He raps on the door.
Right. Open the door and say yes.
Hey. Okay. So first off, we have established this guy as a former Royal British Space Force. I am not going to try to get an accent. I might fuck it up and have it sound something else. But just for the record, Paul Gray is British of some sort.
Okay.
And he says, hey, jeez, that did not sound British at all. Oh my God. Hey, guy. He says, hey, can I trouble you for a moment? Privately? Is your roommate in?
No, enter, and I proceed to close and lock the door, and mention that we got things going and we can communicate. It's clean. It's a clean room.
Yeah. Listen, I probably shouldn't know this about you. But information comes across my desk and I send it off where it's supposed to go. Usually that information is communications material. But I have read some of your history and I know you did some investigation back in the day. And I think you can help me with this. But I'm really, really, really not sure if I should do this. So if at any point any of this seems really weird or makes you super uncomfortable, please tell me to just go.
I kind of cock an eye at that and wave my hands as like, go on.
Listen,
go in for this penny before we.
Yeah, fucking Wiggles in a stream chat, as we often say in Britishese.
Yeah.
He takes a moment and he kind of looks back and forth in the room. It's almost like he's trying to see if maybe your roommate actually did leave or is not there, or if he's expecting him to jump out of a closet or something. And you could tell, your investigation training definitely covered nonverbal body language communication type stuff. You can see This guy is very uncomfortable and very not so much scared, but definitely concerned that something is going wrong.
Right.
It takes him a moment. He probably starts a sentence or two, gets a couple words in, and then stops, and then restarts because he's not really sure how he wants to say something. But he ends up going with this. He ends up going like this. And he says, a day or two ago, after everybody got back on the ship from the station, I had a sit down with the XO. And I showed the XO some stuff. And I had... Okay, so listen, this is what's going on. We have, for lack of a better thing to call it, we have had a series of unauthorized communications sent to and sent from this ship to
Okay.
or from destinations unknown, to or from individuals unknown. I don't know who's doing it. They're not doing it through my comm station on the bridge. They're sending it from the ship somewhere else. Within the ship, I should say. I brought this information to the XO the other day. And then I had a thought, and I'm going to tell you right now, me as the GM, I can't quite recall if the XO had told him to let it be. I know there was some code put into the comm stuff. And
So I told the contact, okay, well, thank you for bringing it to my attention.
yeah.
Don't speak to this any further about it. If you see any kind of subroutines or anything like that around your
Yes.
comm system, that it's me investigating the situation, leave it be.
Right, okay.
And then I told my wife.
Of course you did. Okay, so you didn't actually tell Gray to, like, cease and desist. You just said, I'm going to do something, don't wig out about it.
I guess I literally did not tell him, don't do anything about this. Yes, but I think it's strong inference as this is now my responsibility. But
Right.
so I guess I literally didn't say that.
Okay. All right. So then Gray tells Hellwig, and he's like, I told the XO, I showed him my comms logs. He said he would take care of it. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I have no reason to not trust the XO. Like, he seems like a decent guy. But then I had a thought, an idea that I wanted to check out in the comms logs in what was still in the computer. And when I went back, I think this was yesterday morning, I went back to look in there. All of those comms logs are gone. Deleted.
Well, you did.
I kind of cock an eye at that and mentioned briefly that I'm not a great computer guy, but to my understanding, only certain people with certain code commands can do that because we're required to keep the comms. Is that right?
Fundamentally, yes. There's a lot more gray area in there. It's not quite so binary as you described it, but yes.
Right.
For instance, I can do up to a certain level of, we'll say, pruning of the code, or not so much the code, but pruning of the logs.
Right.
I would imagine the XO and the captain both have a bit more pull, perhaps the chief of the boat, but the fact that these particular logs that I just showed the I really don't want to imply that the XO is the bad guy here, but I don't know what else to say. Like, I showed him my work, and now my work is gone.
Right. So I'm gonna basically put my arm around him and pull him tight and
shoot him with the silenced pistol. I'm sorry. Don't listen to me.
No. I'm gonna spin a quick little story about the reason I left the colonial law enforcement was corrupt. It was all the way up, and that's one of the reasons I left. Corruption. And they were changing things. Guys were on the take. Stuff was being mishandled. Fees, blah blah blah. You've been around it. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Anyhow. I don't know enough about the comm systems to know, but I think why don't you keep your own separate? And I kind of fiddle around in my little locker safe and pull out a lack of a better word, a USB stick or whatever the modern 2300 version of it is.
The current era version of a thumb drive.
Yeah, basically. And I said, listen, and this has some stuff. These are some tools we had from when I was working for a couple other agencies and a couple other corporate stuff. Keep a separate thing. Keep it on the low. Name it something not obvious. It's obvious, right? So that people would kind of look over it. You won't believe, right?
Hiding in plain sight. Yeah. I've heard this before.
Yeah. Right? Like, how many people keep those training films, right? And they like say training. It's like not obviously.
Yeah.
And but people, anyhow, just keep it with you all the time. Bring it to me about every week. We'll kind of go through it. and maybe we can figure out where it's coming from. Because again, my understanding is you're the only station that can transmit. They still have to go through you, even if we type it up from the computers here in the room.
Yeah,
So,
that's the thing. I don't understand how that works. Like, it 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 gets routed to my station, so it actually gets transmitted, or when it gets received, it comes to my station. But then it's like automatically of its own accord. Like, I don't even touch anything. Like, I'm a glorified switchboard operator, if you want to call it that. But this takes that whole middleman step out. Well, I don't know. Like, I saw code in there, and markers that just, like, it was old
Right.
code and key encryptions that and it's clear he's like completely flabbergasted. Like, he knows what he's trying to say, but there's like 17 different things trying to come out at once.
Yeah, no, and I kind of grab him and pull him close and say, listen, man, calm down. All right, first rule, and I kind of give him the long spiel about, whatever the modern 2300 version of James Bond is, you want to be in this type of thing. You want to be a spy. This is the perfect time. But the first thing that busts a spy is being obvious, right? Sweating like a stuck hog and things like that, right? So be cool, be collected. Take this geek stick, bring it back to me every week or so.
That's what we're gonna call it now, by the way, is a geek stick.
Yeah. And if anything else, and I kind of raise the hair in the back of my neck, and I say, if anything else, if you come by and you have it, just slap it in this spot, and there's like a little data port.
Yeah.
So I got a subthermal installed to me. We can upload it that way. I can store up to whatever gigabytes. We'll take 2 gigs, right? And then if you're that concerned, and then we can move it on to deal with it later.
All right, yeah. All right, that sounds good. Thank you. Listen. I'm sorry for bringing all this on to you quite unexpectedly, but I didn't know. I want to trust the XO. I can't
trust them for right now until we can get more hard evidence. Right? Don't let your fears run with you.
Okay.
Just trust them and let's go. Right?
Okay.
Everyone's a suspect and no one's a suspect.
Well, fortunately, there's only like 20 something of us possible suspects, so it shouldn't be too hard to narrow it down, right?
Right. Exactly. But don't do anything more. Don't do anything. And then if we need to make it easier, we'll set up like a card game, or do you play? And I come up with some like random board game or some whatever, right?
Yeah, Stardust 21.
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah. Or whatever it is, and we'll get together and we'll do it this way. We'll go to the 0G gym and exercise out and make the slips that way, right? Okay. If anything else, send me a note, but we'll have to figure out code later, and I'll send you that via something else. Okay.
All right, sounds good. I think I got this. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. And he'll take the geek stick, as we're gonna call it now, and he'll pocket it and give you a quick little thanks for your time, sorry for the bother, etc., and we'll exit your quarters. That takes us to where am I? Milligan. You wanted to speak with the captain.
Yep.
What kind of setting are you looking for here?
Wherever he is, it doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
If he's in his office, I'll go to his office.
Okay, so let's go ahead and fast forward time just a wee bit. This will be, Tuesday mid-morning, somewhere between breakfast and dinner, or excuse me, breakfast and lunch. Probably like 10 or 11 o'clock. You just got done doing a quick little check-in with the navigation piloting situation, make sure the ship's still on course and all that crazy stuff. As you, zoom through space at something just short of 2 light years a day. The captain's in his office. I imagine maybe you sent a message ahead to be like, "Hey, boss, want to see you? Can I get a few minutes of your time?" Or something like that.
Yep.
And
I'm not gonna stop by unannounced.
Yeah. And so you get a ping on your. I don't remember if I actually called it anything in particular, but basically, on your link device. The link being the 2300 version of the internet or what have you. And of course, your link device would be some sort of smartphone type deal. If you've got some cyber-ish things, so you may actually get a ping like on your projected artificial. God damn it, what's the word I'm looking for here? Augmented reality.
Yeah, or the ship's network.
Yeah.
I specifically don't carry a link device.
Okay.
That's from my agent days.
Right.
So I do not have link hardware in my setup.
Okay.
But I can get any kind of message through the ship's network
And
anytime I'm jacked in. So
okay, but you don't necessarily have Wi-Fi capability though.
I don't. I specifically don't have that either. I have
Okay.
to be hardwired jacked in.
Okay, in that case, you get a. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I can work with that. I should say. Yeah, right about the time you're getting ready to unplug from the pilot station after you've gone in and, basically done the pilot's, 101 diagnostic kind of thing.
Yep.
You notice that you got a ping from the captain, indicating to meet him at 10:30 hours today,
Alrighty.
which is, as you look at the time, in about 4 or 5 minutes. The
Okay.
cool thing is, of course, that the Wayfinder is roughly the size of a 747, or shorter, actually, I think. So it doesn't take you all that long to first, pull yourself from the bridge through 0G down to the hab pod section of the ship, and then gradually work your way down it's basically there's like 2 connecting tunnels to the hab pods. There's 2 pods, and they spin around the ship for gravity.
Right.
And you pull yourself down until you're in the gravity, and then there's like an actual elevator to go between the 5 different decks of each pod. Anyway, long story short, you make your way to the captain's office. You're under gravity at this point, probably somewhere between a third and a half gravity. Just enough for it to make it feel kind of like gravity, but keep you from bouncing around. And Captain, his door's open. He sees you approach. He says, "Hey, don't even knock. Just come on in. Have a seat. What can I do for you, Milligan?"
Okay. I come in and plop down, and I say, when I checked in, y'all were just coming off mission. I had a lot of stuff going through my head. I feel like I didn't really get across what I wanted to get across with you, for that initial meeting.
I thought, okay, fair. Yeah, we did just wrap up, or getting ready. Or yeah, we did just wrap up that mission. Not to mention having, that last second pilot swap out. Do you know anything about that, by the way? I don't suppose you do, but
no, I was trained by Flex to do a job and put on a ship, and I knew I was replacing somebody, but I didn't know the ins and outs.
God, well, it's immaterial. We probably shouldn't speak ill of the. Well, they're not dead, but you get the idea. Ooh, that would have been some awesome foreshadowing. Anyways, fuck, I just fucked myself up. Give me half a second here. Yeah, so he's obviously not going to speak too much more about the previous pilot. Howell, I believe, was her name. But the long of it, yeah, we did just come off mission. We had pilots swapped out last second. I didn't even know anything about it. Obviously, my attention was on the mission at the time. But I felt like our meeting went fine, at least covering the most ultimate level of basics.
Right.
I'm the captain, you're the pilot. I need you to fly the ship. Any questions? No. I realized it was pretty short. Yeah. What's on your mind, son?
I say, well, that's kind of the same thing I got from Flex, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about. I said,
Okay.
Flex seemed to be in a main strain for a qualified pilot at the time, and that is honestly all they expressed an interest in with me.
That checks
So,
out. We are.
yep.
I know I'm interrupting a little bit. Let me tell you, we are. Flex has a history of expanding almost too fast for its own good, and by expanding, I'm specifically referring to the number of ships in service. Flex has been around for about 20, 30 years, something like that, and we've gone from 1 or 2 ships to, I don't know, almost a dozen at this point, including a few of them that are still, being put together. So yeah, we're constantly looking for new crew. Were you trying to be something other than a pilot, and they just kept riding that horse until it broke?
Well, it didn't break, it's what I signed up for and everything, but
Okay.
I wanted to make sure that you fully understand what my capabilities are.
Oh. Okay, hold on. He takes a moment, and he actually pulls up your official file on the computer, skims through it, and you could hear him every now and again. This takes him like 2-3 minutes maybe, and every now and again you hear him say, or you hear something kind of like, okay, interesting. And after all of that, he gets up, he goes in, he closes the door, and he sits back down. Tell me more. Tell me what's not in here that is only barely hinted at.
So I don't know what's in my actual, job portfolio there. All I know is what they hired me for, but I want to let you know I'm not just a Starship pilot. I'm an interface.
Here, I'm sorry. Go ahead, please.
I'm an interface pilot. I'm an astrogator, a turret operator, a comms and computer specialist, a recon trooper and sniper, and more. While I can fly this ship, I am capable of all sorts of things. And while I otherwise will comply with the duties that I have here, I didn't really want to be pigeonholed in to just one task. I tried to express that to the recruiters and trainers at Flex, but they were closed-minded and only looking for a pilot, not an operative. I understand that. I said, I've already expressed to you that I don't really look for leadership positions, but I can be much more of a use to you than just a pilot. So if you come up with anything that you need done that you think I can assist with, don't hesitate to let me know.
I think I'll be keeping a close eye on you. I realize you're quite new to Flex. Flex being the organization that it is and the type of organization that it is, we tend to recruit for specific slots, as it were, as best as we can project a year or two in advance. We don't have the same scope or wide reach that various governments and or their militaries have. We're obviously a much smaller entity, despite previous comments I've made regarding our rapid expansion. Having said that, I am of the opinion that putting the right tool to the right task is far more beneficial than simply having a tool that could be used for many tasks. Does that make sense to you?
He nods.
Now, having said that, you are my pilot and assistant to the navigator. So with that in mind, I will be expecting piloting being done between you and Mr. Tran. But as far as, shall we say, extracurricular activities or necessities, I'll keep you in mind. From time to time, as we make different ports, the XO will be going off ship to secure trade. Occasionally, side jobs is really a strong word for what could come up, but sometimes the XO needs an extra body or two to make things happen. Maybe the next time out, the XO will have an opportunity to take you. Or maybe not next time, but the next time after that. Who knows? One thing about Flex, if you haven't already been told, our primary source of income, short of investments and donations from humanity at large, comes from the trade that we conduct in a speculative manner from station to station, as well as gathering information typically from exploration, scanning, charting, navigational passes, things of that nature. Sometimes we come across other types of information that might be useful to different commercially interested parties. I don't mean to imply, of course, that we're doing anything illegal, but the idea of what is or is not legal changes, even from one edge of the colony to the other edge, let alone continent to continent, planet to planet. So, as I'm sure you can imagine, plenty of opportunities can arise where some of your less than official skill sets may come into play. If that's something you're interested in.
I said most definitely. I do have some contacts at Rebco SAR as well. So if we're, in some system and lacking an extracurricular, maybe I can help hunt something up.
You kind of, I want you to imagine for the moment, you're sitting in an office that's not really an office. It's more like an overgrown broom closet. Because as I'm sure you can imagine on these kinds of ships, there's just not a lot of room anywhere. But even with the almost claustrophobic feel of the office itself, he kind of leans in a little closer to you over his desk, and he says, a little bit more quietly, as if there was anybody that could listen, and even if the ones that could hear what he's about to say aren't going to challenge him in any way. But he says, our word is karaoke. When we're talking about extracurricular activities.
Okay. I say noted.
Having said that, I'll pass your name along to the XO in case he needs an extra pair of hands for any of his tasks that he has to perform. I do like keeping my XO busy. I'm not sure if you've had a chance to notice that yet.
I have not yet had a chance to speak with him.
That's probably because he's too busy. At which point the captain will lean back into his chair, open up his computer terminal again, and give you the "I'm about to dismiss you unless you have anything else to say" look, as he says, "Is there anything else, senior pilot?"
Oh. I rise to my feet. I say, that'll be all, Captain. Thank you very much.
Dismissed.
And I exit.
All right. And on that note, my friends, we will take a brief intermission. When we come back, we still have McAvoy and the XO, a scene or two there. And after that, we will be proceeding into the Bessier system. So stick around. Who knows what will happen? Fun times, I hope. I mean, I planned these things to be fun, so we'll see what happens. We'll be back in a few minutes, my friends. Stick around.